I've been shooting weddings for over 7 years now, and after all this time of testing out new cameras, new lenses, new audio equipment, I've finally found the kit that is perfect for wedding videographers in 2025. Let's check it out. So starting out, we've got the Sony a7S III. Now this thing is my workhorse. It's a beast. I've got three main camera bodies. I've got the Sony a7S III, and I've actually got two Sony a7 IVs. Now the reason why I go with Sony is they're probably one of the best video cameras for low light. And when you're doing weddings, you're just in these situations that you never know what the lighting conditions are going to be. And we've had, multiple times where we've needed to use the 12,800 ISO and S-Log3, and it's able just to basically see in the dark. All right, so that's the base of my cameras. For aerial, I have got the DJI Air 3. Now this thing is absolutely amazing. It shoots in D-Log, so it gives you a nice flat picture profile to work with. But yeah, amazing drone. And I've actually got this one with the DJI controller with the display, which is way better. I used to have a drone where I had to connect my phone to it, and it was just a waste of time, and it was frustrating. So to have its own dedicated display just makes things so much easier. All right, next on my list, the GoPro Hero 11 Black. Now this is obviously not great quality when it comes to comparing it to the Sonys or the drone or whatnot, but the reason why I have this camera is it is basically a safety camera. If I'm doing a ceremony like a Greek or an Italian ceremony, I'm gonna want multiple camera angles, and to have something like the Hero 11 Black to put in a funky spot, you could think of it as just a safety piece of equipment that when I get to the edit, I'm thankful that I have another camera angle. So that sits in my wedding filmmaking kit. Now, one that is so underrated is the DJI Pocket 3. It's got amazing 4K footage. It shoots in a flat picture profile so you can easily grade it. The couple of things that I do with this camera has really made a difference when it comes to the peace of mind of me filming. So, for example, when I'm shooting a ceremony and I've got the 70-200 pointed at the groom, getting the groom reaction shot, a lot of the time, the groom can move or someone can stand in front of the camera and it blocks that shot. So what I've done is I've actually attached a little hot shoe mount to the bottom of the Pocket 3. And what I do is I put it on top of the a7 IV, which has got the 70-200, and I've got that groom reaction camera set up, but I've also got a wide on top of that just in case the 70-200 misses it because someone has moved. So it's a very good safety shot when it comes to a ceremony. And one thing that I've used it for numerous times now, which has been amazing, is during the wedding speeches at the reception, I'll actually put this in front of the bride and groom to get their reaction shot. So instead of setting up a tripod and, in front of the bridal table looking at the bride and groom, which is quite big and clunky, this guy just sits on the table and points at the bride and groom to get their reactions for the speeches, which is just incredible, easy, and it's just a piece of equipment that I think is very handy to have in a wedding filmmaking kit. I've only got a few lenses, and these lenses stay on my camera bodies the whole time. I use the 24-70 G Master version 2. Now this thing is absolutely amazing. I like to be very versatile on a wedding day. I don't like equipment bogging me down, so I do use a zoom, and I will handhold this thing and I can get my 24mm, I can zoom in, get my 70mm, and it's just one of those lenses that I can get multiple different shots of the same thing within 5 seconds. And it also pairs really well with the Ronin on the gimbal. Just an epic piece of equipment. If you don't want to spend the incredible amount that Sony charges for this lens, you can get the Sigma version. I know a lot of people that have it and it works really well, but 24-70, it's a must-have in my kit. The second lens is a 20mm f1.8G, which is on filming this right now. This lens is one of those lenses that I put at the back of a ceremony or at the back of the reception during speeches, and it is essentially my safety wide shot. Now this thing opening up to 1.8, when you get to something like a first dance, it lets in a ton of light. It's amazing, it's very crisp, and it lives on my a7 IV, and I think it'll be a lens that I never get rid of. Third lens. This one is one of my favorite lenses ever. I've had the previous version, but this is the 70-200 2.8 G Master version 2. This lens is incredible. It is the lens that I get the groom's reaction. It's also the lens that I use during cocktail hour because it is insane. You can use this at 200mm handheld, and it's got the image stabilization in the lens. And it's just one of those lenses that is so crisp, the color on it is amazing, and it never misses a beat. I mean, you can shoot at 70mm or 200mm and get these epic shots handheld. You wouldn't even know that it's handheld. It's just absolutely incredible. I also use this lens to get a lot of Atmos shots, so, you know, trees or bushes or, you know, the sky or anything like that. It's also incredible for details. So instead of using a 24-70, if you use a 70-200, you can really compress the image and get some really nice creamy shots. So love this lens. I will never get rid of it, and yeah, one of my most favorite pieces of equipment in this kit. Now, another piece of equipment that may be going soon is the 55mm 1.8. Incredibly sharp, amazing autofocus, great lens, nothing wrong with it. I just don't see myself using the 55mm focal length very often, and I think I'm going to switch this out for like a 16-35 G Master or something equivalent like that, or I might get something funky like a fisheye or something different, something creative, because I just don't see myself using this lens very often, so sadly, I might be getting rid of it soon. Now, audio. One of the most important parts of capturing a wedding is getting crisp audio, and audio gives a lot of videographers anxiety. It used to give me anxiety until I had this thing. I get essentially a line out of the ceremony PA system, or I plug into the PA system during the reception, and this thing records in what's called 32-bit float, which is essentially raw recording but for audio, meaning if you are recording and it's peaking or it's too low, you can bring it up or bring it down, and it saves all that information and you have a pretty good audio file. Another underrated piece of equipment, the Sony IC recorder. This thing lives in this little pouch that I bought. It's kind of like a little holder that I then attach to a handheld microphone. Every single film that you see from me, you will see this little guy attached to the handheld mic during the ceremony or even during the reception. The reason why I think this is an amazing piece of equipment, it's not that expensive and it doesn't record in 32-bit float or anything like that, and the file sizes are really small, so there's not that much information in there, but the reason why the audio files from this are so amazing is because when you attach it to a handheld mic and they're talking like this, the distance from the mouth where the audio is coming from and the actual recorder are so close that it just records really good audio. I mean, to get really great audio, you need the audio source to be close to the mic, and by attaching this to the handheld, you're just getting great audio. And a lot of the time, to be honest, if the ceremony or the reception aren't using a great quality mic, or it's just sounding scratchy, or there's interference when I'm recording with the PodCapture X8, this audio gets used more often than not. So this is definitely one of those pieces of audio equipment that I think is a staple in any filmmaking camera kit. Last piece of audio equipment is the Rode Wireless Pros. Now, these are amazing. I'm recording audio right now. I've got it lapelled on the inside of my shirt here. So they're great quality mics. They also record in the 32-bit float format, the same as the PodCapture X8, but I just don't see myself lapelling anyone at ceremonies anymore, or even receptions. I feel like it's a thing of the past. I don't really want to interfere. I'm a very documentary style filmmaker, so I don't really want to interfere and be like, hey, let me mic you, this and that. So it's something that I think is becoming less and less common, because when you've got the Sony IC recording on the handheld mic and you've got a line out using the X8, I mean, to lapel someone's just kind of next level. All right, next up is lighting. Now, I'm using it right now to light me, which is the Aputure 60X. So this is a bicolor light, so you can actually change the color temperature of this light to match the ambient lighting in the reception that you're shooting at. It's also incredible for speeches. I mean, this thing is such a little light, and we use external batteries to power it, so I don't have to have a cord running or anything like that, and you can flood or spot the light. So I tend to spot the light onto the wedding speaker, and it's just an incredible light that I use for every single wedding that we shoot. All right, support equipment, the DJI Ronin. This one is the RS3. This thing is an incredible piece of equipment. I cannot fault it. It is built like a brick, and the battery life lasts for me all day. And I've got an interesting relationship with this thing because I love gimbal footage, I really do, but I also find that it can be kind of boring sometimes. So what I mean by that is I do a lot of gimbal shots for like the dress reveals, the details, and specific shots with the bridal party. But when it comes to the photo shoot, I have decided that I use this less and less, and I've gone for more of a handheld look. But Where this is paramount is things like the ceremony. During the ceremony, the 24-70, the A7S III is attached to this, and it's my A-cam. I go around and I go over the tops of the heads of the guests, and I get some nice, crispy, nice, clean shots of the couple getting married. So it is absolutely a must-have piece of equipment. I'm using it less and less as the years go on, but incredible piece of equipment, and I definitely wouldn't do a wedding without it. All right, another piece of support equipment that's very important is good quality tripods. Now, I hadn't heard of this brand before. It was recommended by a friend, Jem Lang, to me, and one of the best recommendations, thank you, Jem. It's the iFootage tripod. This is not cheap. I got it off of Amazon. I attach it with the Manfrotto head. This is the MVH500AH head. Now, a quick tip that I think is genius, I actually attach an external battery to both the tripods. I run a USB-C cable from the battery to the camera, so the cameras that are on these tripods will never run out of battery. This is useful when you're doing something like a long religious ceremony and you're recording for, over an hour. I think I deserve a like and a subscribe for that little tip. Last but not least, the bag. This is the Lowepro Tactic BP 450AW2. This camera bag has been with me, I think, for like 5 or 6 years. This thing has seen many countries, it has done hundreds of weddings, and there is absolutely, other than the wear and tear that you see on the front here, it's never let me down. It's incredible. It's got a section to actually hold my laptop. I put all the cords and the hard drives in it. Every piece of equipment other than my gimbal goes in this bag, and it's just incredible. Well, that was exciting. My first video out of the way. I was a little bit nervous, but we got it out. I hope you enjoyed watching what was in my camera bag, and I'd like to know what you have in your camera bag. So if it's very similar to what I have, but you've got a few different tips and tricks and bits of equipment that you think I would, benefit from, please let me know by putting it in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.